Thank you for joining the Bible Stories. This is the home of Bible stories told in an African way and with an African touch. I'm so glad that you could join us. And we are in season 2, and this is episode 2. And we are on the road to 200 subscribers. How do you like the 222? Let's get sharing and get people to subscribe as much as possible. I hope that you continue to be blessed and that you are enjoying listening to these stories. Okay, so today I want to tell you a story that is found in the book of 1 Samuel from chapter 1. I want to tell you the story of how Samuel, the greatest judge of Israel, how he came about. Well, he was the greatest, but he was also the last judge. Okay, so from the tribe of Ephraim, there was a guy who was called Elkanah. Elkanah had 2 wives. I don't even thought about that. Season 2 of episode 2. Oh, rather, episode 2 of season 2. And we are talking about the 2 wives of Elkanah. There was Peninnah and there was Hannah. So, like you know, there's always the favorite. So guess who was the favorite? Hannah. Hannah was the favorite. And sadly, she was without children. Peninnah, on the other hand, had many children. And because she knew that she was not as loved as Hannah, guess what she did? Guess what she did? She kept taunting Hannah. She kept telling her, oh. And especially every time when they would go to Shiloh, where the temple of the Lord was. It was not the temple yet. The temple had once every year to worship the Lord. It was a requirement for the Hebrew. Every time they would do that, they would go with sacrifices, and then the man of the house would go and sacrifice, and then he would divide the meat. So what he would do, he would give a portion to Peninnah and a portion each to each of Peninnah's children. And then when it was Hannah's time, he'd give 2 portions. But now the sad part is, many times by this time, Hannah had been taunted by Peninnah, and she would be so sad, she would not want to eat. So one such time, it happened like this, and Elkanah asked her, because she was so sad. Elkanah asked her, "And I like more than 10 sons to you?" And I'm imagining how Hannah reacted. Anyway, she felt so sad, but she decided to take her sadness to the right place. So she went into the presence of the Lord. And Eli, or Eli, depending on who was your English teacher, was in the vicinity of the ark. And Hannah poured out her heart to the Lord. She prayed until no words were coming out of her mouth, but the lips were moving. And so Eli looks at her and thinks, this woman is drunk. So he goes to her and he says, "Till when are you going to be drunk? Why would you come here drunk?" And Hannah answered him very gently and quietly and said, "No, I am not drunk. It is sadness of heart. I was pouring out my heart to the Lord, and I needed him to answer me." So Elkanah looked at her, and he's a priest. He's the one who represents people before God. He looked at her, and compassion flew out of him, and he said, "Go in peace, and may that which you seek be granted you." And so Peninnah left. Now, after she had poured out her heart to the Lord, she regained some composure. So when she went home, she was able to eat. And then they went back to Ramah, where they lived. And they continued with life. And as it is, Elkanah visited her. And by God's grace, she conceived. And within no time, she gave birth to a son. And she called this boy Samuel, or Samuel, depending on who was your English teacher. So she was so happy She was so grateful to the Lord. And the reason she named him Samuel was because she said, the Lord has given me, and so I give him back to the Lord. So, I forgot to say that time when she was pouring out her heart to the Lord, she made a vow to him. She told him, if you give me a son, I will give him back to you to serve you. So, the time came for them to go up to Shiloh to worship the Lord. And when her husband said, let's go, she said, I won't go. Let me remain behind and win this child. After he is weaned, I will take him to the Lord, because I promised that I would give him there. So the husband was like, okay, whatever pleases you. Whatever you agreed with God, you keep that vow. And so Elkanah and the rest of the family, they went up, they worshipped, and they came back. And Hannah weaned the boy. When he was weaned and could sort of survive, she took him to the Lord and she left him with Eli. And she told Eli, you remember that time I came here and I was praying? I told the Lord that if he would give me a son, then I would give him back to him. And he did just that. So I have brought this son to serve the Lord in your presence. And Eli received the boy into the presence of the Lord and into the service of the Lord. So Eli trained this guy on things to do with priestly duties. And that ends the story for today. I hope you are blessed. I hope that you are encouraged. Until next time, see you.